So we're just doing the mix to cues, and it's, oh, here, that's what it is, right there. Yeah, okay. And can you hear me on here? Can you hear me on TalkBack? Hello, hello. Oh. Let's see, TalkBack. No, it needs to be turned up, and then go to, let's see, TalkBack Q1, or, oh, that's what it is, Q1, assign TalkBack. There we go. All right. Cool. So, do you guys need to do any? Why is that not? Oh, am I on the wrong? It switches to the OBS.
No, I did that because he was working here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I'm just gonna mute that for now. What's up, everyone? Welcome. My name is Eric Thompson. I recognize one of you. So, as did are you guys all like pretty new here, or okay, cool, like yeah, like a couple mods in or something like that? Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is Foley. Who's heard of Foley before? Okay, good. So there's a lot of discussion of what Foley is in sound, and a lot of times you'll hear like videographers, people who do video stuff and then also add audio, talk about Foley in a way, but that's not always completely accurate. But it's also one of those things that it could be Foley or it could be not. There's a lot of like gray area. And one thing that we do in this world is we learn the rules, and then we figure out why we should break the rules, right? When those rules are inhibiting our creativity. We don't break the rules before we know them. Then we're just a menace to society. And we're not really accomplishing anything, right? So, Foley largely is centered around human movement in film. And we usually do human movement because that's the hardest thing to replace. So, like, humans are very particular, and we constantly make sounds. If you sit down, the sound of your butt hitting a cushion makes a sound. When you're walking, footsteps. When you're moving around, clothing sounds. All of that is Foley's bread and butter, the human movements. And the rest of the sound in film, so one thing I should just say is, whenever you watch a film, if you're not aware of this, pretty much everything that you hear is added after the fact. Usually the only thing that's not is the dialogue that's happening on set by the actors, and they will even sometimes replace that, but not all the time. So there's a number of different ways we replace that. We have sound effects libraries, where you have a whole just library of all kinds of sounds that you can go in and you get, like, a car driving by, or a plane flying overhead, or a gunshot, or a door closing, all this kind of stuff. So we pull those from sound libraries, and that's fairly easy to do, or we might go and record those sounds. Foley artist is a person who's in the studio actually performing the sounds, and then there's the Foley mixer, is the person in the studio recording it. Kind of what we might in the music world just call a recording engineer. In the film world, a lot of times these people are called mixers, even though they're recording stuff, because they also do some mixing later on. The reason we kind of center on human movement for Foley, it's not the only thing that is done in Foley, but it's just the easiest way to, it feels so much more, like we're all humans, and we're used to hearing humans move, hearing ourselves move. And it's subconscious. We don't realize it most of the time. But as soon as you pull it away, like if you have a film without footsteps and without that human movement thing, there's something that's a little bit off. And most of the time you can't even really put your finger on it. It's kind of this, it feels cheap to you. And you'll see like an indie film, you almost know that it's an indie film without very much budget right away, and you might not fully be able to articulate it, and that's what the power of sound is. Sound has this kind of like subconscious backdoor into our minds, because we never stop hearing. 24 hours a day, when you're sleeping, when you're awake, your brain is constantly processing sound, and doing something with it. Sometimes it just throws it away and it says this is not important information. Most of the time, though, it's processing it and processing it subconsciously, right? So sound is our fastest of all senses. It's faster than vision. It's faster than touch. And it's processed in the part of our brain, the same part of our brain where we process emotion. So sound is like often this kind of second-class citizen in film. It's the thing that's kind of slapped on after the fact and all this stuff, but it's extremely important, and all the best directors will tell you that sound is like at least 50% of the experience, and I say sound meaning sound and music. However, it's not always thought about, it's not always top of mind because it's processed subconsciously, and we just don't even realize how powerful it is a lot of the time. And that's also sound's strength. It is stealth, and it can kind of like slide in without you realizing it. So you can carry a lot of weight doing sound design in film. With Foley, we don't really care that much about it sounding super authentic and real. I mean, of course we want that, but we aren't locked in to, oh, this has to feel like it does in reality. And sometimes we actually want it to not sound like reality. We want it to sound closer and bigger than it usually does in reality. And so what happens a lot with Foley is every sound that we add to film is an opportunity to push the story along one more step. So what we're doing when we're adding these almost seemingly like mundane sounds, right? We're going to do recording like a light switch today and some footsteps and some clothing movement. What that is saying from a storytelling perspective is first this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, right? And we're using sound to tell all those things. And that's like how you keep someone engaged when you're telling a story. You could just be telling them the most mundane, boring story. But if you kind of keep giving these details, they keep feeling like, well, how's it gonna end? You know, you kind of keep giving these details. If you kind of meander on and aren't providing any new information, that story gets kind of boring. But when you kind of say, oh, I was in New York and this guy came up to me and he started talking, and then, you just kind of keep going and telling about, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. That's what we do with sound. That's what the purpose of Foley is. When we have a character doing things on screen, sound is pointing to what that character is doing, because what they are doing is probably setting up a part. It's probably a part that is setting up a bigger story. All right. So what we're going to do today is the Foley, just some Foley for this little scene. It's just a little guy. Sometimes when I clicked on the video, it doesn't want to play. There it goes. So we're going to need to have his footsteps and his clothing sounds. I think we're going to want it to be kind of heavy. That will be something where it's not going to be totally like it is in real life. He's got that big coat. He's kind of a funny little guy. And so we're going to bring him to life by just having that clothing sound. We're going to want his footsteps. And then light switch sounds. And let's see, I think I actually wrote down all the things that I wanted, and I'm trying to remember if I have it on my... I do. Good. So clothing, footsteps, metal, some metal stuff, and then glass, a light switch, and a door close. So I want to start with footsteps. And the thing that we want to focus in on here is his distance. And so it's all about perspective, right? We want to be in the perspective of as if we were the person holding the camera. And so as he gets closer to it, those footsteps should get closer. As he goes away, they should get further away. So what's a good way of using, how can we capture perspective with sound in that room right now? What would be a good way of doing that? Get that perspective of distance.
Walking towards the mic.
Yeah. As simple as that, yeah. And so we want to, now we don't always, again, we do not have to be like just tied to reality, right? We don't have to be like, well, he's about 8 feet away, so he should be about 8 feet away from the mic. No, we just want it to sound right, okay? So we do want there to be that perception of distance that we're creating, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And sometimes we'll do that with just close miking it and turning it down and up. Or, so turning it down and up is one way of, obviously, as it gets further away, it's going to get quieter. What else happens to the sound when it gets further away? Anyone know? More muffled, yeah, right? Yeah, there could be more reverb. I mean, we'll probably hear more reverb than we do hear direct sound, right? So the wet-dry mix, wet being reverb and dry being the close sound, the wet to dry ratio is going to be more on the wet side, right? Because we're going to be further away and that sound falls off and we're hearing it just reverberate throughout the room, right? High frequency falls off because it has less energy, right? Low frequency sound waves are big and have a ton of energy. High frequency sound waves they have less energy, they're smaller. Also transients. What are transients? So transients are short, fast sounds. Like the most obvious ones are like drums, like a snare drum, right? If you think of just the waveform, it's a little spike, basically. But there are transients in everything. That footstep has transient sounds, and honestly, that's a big part. It's a largely transient sound. It is not very tonal. It's just kind of like these attacky, transient kind of sounds. The further away you get, the less transients are there, the less like sharp they are, right? They kind of fall off. So who wants to be our walker? Are you raising your hand? Are you stretching? It's not going to be that difficult. We've got a volunteer? Okay. Just a second. Let me make sure I've got this. Wait, I've never used this pre before, so I just got to, okay. Oh, I see. It's compressors on one side and pre's on the other. I got it now. Okay, that's got 48 volts. Let me just see if we're getting signal here. Oh, wait, that's not yeah, check. So, we do have that one plugged in there, right? Not seeing any signal on that. Well, it was actually, I moved it to 2, and I checked that, and it is plugged in to 2. Okay. But, oops. So I should be, if I crank the preamp, okay, I see a little bit, but that's just the, probably just the pre making that noise, so, okay. Will someone go out and just scratch that front of that mic for me? I just want to see if we're getting signal or if it's... I'm waiting on nothing. I'm getting signal, but it's just me clicking the pre up. Let me kill Phantom on this. That's a weird button. I did, yep. Why do I have a flashlight on? So we have one volunteer walker. What are the other things we need? The next thing, I think we should do clothing. So I brought this, but we can also see what threads y'all are sporting. And it's just going to be like this, close to the mic. So we'll try some different things out. You mind if I? That's probably too quiet. That's too, it's too plasticky sounding. I think this will work up close to that mic. So just be with his footsteps. This funny little character. And then we're going to have, so metal. I brought some stuff for that little eye thing that he's rocking. Oh, here, let's see if we got Phantom. See if we got signal. It seems like it's the same thing. It's just not getting, it's getting the pre. Let's see. So is it? Probably just smack the hell out of this. All right. So and let me squeeze through here, guys. Sorry. Sorry, we just changed up the gear in this room, and let me make sure I'm not doing anything stupid. 2 bus B, high pass. What's 2B bus? That's probably the compressor. 2B bus. That just sounds dumb the way they put that there. All right. So I'm definitely getting it clicking from the preamp, but I'm not getting signal on that microphone. So we're good from preamp to Pro Tools, but it's mic to preamp that's having the issue. Oh wait, what's this right here? Hey, this snake. I'm thinking this snake right here, number 2, is not plugged in. Here, I'll let you check this out, Jason. But it looks like, just looking on the back of that, that red one looks like it's number 2, which I think would be the one that would be that it should be plugged into, right? And I'm going to kill Phantom while you're messing around with that. So while he's messing with that, I've got, so the glass, there's a few things. I killed Phantom, so if you need to unplug. There's, and actually while he's doing this, what we'll do is we'll do what's called a spotting log, or a spotting session. I'm going to drop markers for different sounds that we see, right? So the way that this normally works is you'd sit, like the supervising sound editor is like the boss of all things audio, and they work closely with the director, and maybe the 2 of them would sit together, and maybe it would be a wider team, but it would be at least the 2 of them, and they would sit through and map out everywhere that we want to add sound. And so in this case, we would do footsteps, and we don't need to, I'm going to drop markers. We don't need to drop a marker for every footstep, but we might drop markers for here's close, here's far. And we're going to just drop markers for kind of everything that's like a step along the way. So let's start with, can I get this in a way where I can see the timeline a little bit better, maybe? Oops. So in Pro Tools, to drop markers, I just hit Enter on the number pad. And what I'm going to do is hit Enter twice, because once it'll prop up a dialog, and then the little OK button that you could click on will be blue, which means it's focused, so it's keyboard focused. So if I hit Enter again, it's going to hit OK. And then we'll go back and we'll rename those markers. So first, I'm going to just drop markers whenever I see footsteps happening that are changing. So no footsteps. Footsteps start, and then close. OK, just 1 second.
We got some signal coming through. We're just going to run one under the door.
Oh, OK. All right. And then footsteps start again, stop, start again. Oops, I'm not following what I just said I was going to do. OK, so I didn't hit Enter twice on a few of those, but anyway, you get the idea. I've got all these markers here that are going to just be like a roadmap for us. So I can quickly, I'm going to hit Command 5 on the number pad, and it brings up this marker window. And I'm just going to call all of these footsteps. I'm going to hit Command A, Command C. So I copy and paste them and move quickly. So I'm just hitting Command V to quickly name these buggers. OK, so now I'm mostly just demoing this because we don't need to like spend a lot of time getting pedantic here. But so the next thing I'd like to focus on is clothing sounds. OK, so I'm going to hit play. So maybe a little bit of clothing there. Definitely clothing while he's walking. Clothing on the arm movement. Clothing on that arm movement. Clothing on that arm movement. Even just some of his little movements there. We'll have less clothing back here because you don't hear it as well. But again, we don't care about reality. We care about telling a story. And I think part of this is character development. Right, we are defining this character in his big jacket that's too big for him, right? So, oops, that's not what I meant to do. So I'm gonna do same thing here. Clothing, Command A for select all, Command C to copy, and I'm gonna click on all these ones. And just name them. All right, so how are we doing? We got signal on that thing now? I see an air conditioner humming on it. That's good. OK, so who is our footsteps victim? Was that you? OK, let's go in there, and I'm going to unmute this mic. I think you guys will be able to hear me in there. Yeah, will you go in real quick and just talk and just let me make sure that that everyone will be able to hear me while I'm in there? Perfect. OK. All right, you guys hang here, and I'm going to, yeah. All right. What's your name?
Ty.
Ty. Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you. I'm Eric. So I pulled up the rug here, and that's what we're going to be walking on. Now I'm going to pull this out here so it's like close to so you can kind of be thinking in the same perspective, right? So you'll be watching the video.
Just walk with him?
Yeah, walk with him. And it'll just be, we'll try it a few times, but you're just going to try to emulate what he is doing. And this should probably be enough. And it's just kind of like, and you also don't always have to be moving, like, right? I'm not moving anywhere, but I'm still making sounds, right? So it'll be kind of like, I think we should do like, because he starts about midway. So if you start here and you kind of go, and just, you know, you can keep walking. Try not to breathe into the microphone. I'm going to also lower this microphone and aim it down. Sorry if I'm banging around for you guys in there. Oops, just heard a little snap of the shock mount. Oh, no, maybe not. Felt like something did, but oh yeah, it did. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put it down something like that. And I'm also going to, that air conditioner up there is just so noisy. So I'm really trying to use the null point on the microphone because it picks up, it's a cardioid, so it picks up this direction. It's rejecting sound coming from this way. So I want to use that to my advantage here. And that's not, okay. Yeah, and also that is another thing is like if your clothing makes noise while you're doing it, you need to make sure that it's not, you know, making noise, or if maybe it's making the right noise. But so we'll start. We'll get some cans on you. Let you do that, and then yeah, you probably want to like maybe put that kind of over your shoulder so you're not tripping on it. But start like halfway there, and then when you walk away, just walk backwards. I think, unless it sounds funny, but just kind of, you know, embody it. This is like acting. Right. I mean, you are embodying this character. Right. So think how this weird little guy is gonna. I mean, I feel like you walk very cool. This guy, he walks like he's selling insurance or something like that. So try to embody that. Okay. So I'll be talking to you on the talk back in here, and it's gonna rock. All right. Could you guys hear what we were saying? Okay, cool. Here, hold on to that for me, Roberto. All right, Ty, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to do just a handful of takes here. And so, you can just do, hold on one second. We'll do one, and you're going to get it wrong the first time. That's just the way it's going to go, or maybe you'll prove me wrong and get it right. But you know, we can just take multiple takes and we'll save them all and then keep the best one. All right. So I think I can make this big. I don't think I need to see it all that well. And actually, yeah. Well, I'll leave this here. Okay. Cool. So I'm just going to roll it. And then let you kind of, you know, this first time just feel it out. I'm going to also be getting some signal and stuff. So just have fun, don't sweat it, and know that you're going to make mistakes. That's normal. You ready?
Okay.
Here we go. So I'm going to just check the pre. Is it going? Sorry, one sec. Something about when I click on the video, then Pro Tools doesn't want to function with me. Okay, I lied. Here it's going to go, I believe. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to click it up one more notch. You are a pro. That was so good. Honestly, I said you weren't going to get it the first time, and you proved me wrong. Let's try that one more time. No giggling this time.
Try.
And try not to kick the mic stand. You kick the mic stand too, which is just a huge faux pas in the studio, okay? I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, but I'm also kidding. All right, you ready? No pressure. Here it comes. So one thing about when you're running sessions is talkback is crucial, right? You got to be on that talkback and really communicating with people and making them feel comfortable, because it's an uncomfortable place to be in there. So if they tell a joke and everyone in here laughs, I hit the talkback so everyone hears, so she hears everyone laughing. So I think we'll be good after this. We're not going to be perfect. We're trying to rush through things here, so. Excellent. All right. You killed it. Come on in. All right. So what do we want to do next? I think, oh yeah, there's the rug in the way. Listen to those sounds. I wish I was recording that. All right, so I think we can, sorry, that's another thing, is to unarm your tracks. It was just the air pressure in the room. You know, that's all sound is air pressure, and that's what those microphones are good at picking up. So closing and opening that door changes the pressure. At my old room, great work, Ty. Come on, let's clap for Ty. At my old studio, the vocal booth was like, it really sucked in the air, and so we always had to like make sure that mic is not live and coming through the speakers when we close that door, because it's a lot of pressure that could do some damage. So, all right. So I think I want to do a light switch. Who wants to be the switch flipper? Okay. I think that was the first hand that went up. All right. So come on in, and I will again. I'm going to actually just name this, just so they don't need to be. Now I'm going to turn the pre down while I'm in here moving it around. I had it, but all right. So let's go do some switch flipping. We got to see how that switch sounds too. So notice the difference if it's like versus.
Yeah, like a dramatic effect.
Yeah, you really want to get that sound. So, and we're going to get pretty close on the mic. Will you grab that cord and just kind of bring it over? Sorry if I'm banging this around for you guys in the control room. So I want to get like fairly close on this, even though the mic is, even though the perspective of the film, the switch is kind of further away. I want this to be close sounding, and then we can always turn it down. You know, this is not one of those situations with the footsteps. The best way to do that is to get natural sounding distance. With something like this, I want to get, it's just such a quiet sound that we're not going to try to make it sound like reality, you know, and we're going to try to make it just sound like we're trying to tell a story, right? And the story is, for whatever reason, this OCD little weirdo is obsessed with the the light switch. All right, so, and then I'm gonna go ahead. Whoa, I almost just died. I think I got it. Will you grab that? Yes, that and this other one too. But you're like, do you need help? You sound worried about me. Yeah, grab that and pull it that way because you're gonna need those headphones. There you go. I think it'll be probably about there. It's these cables are a little bit short. All right, so go ahead and pop those cans on, and then you have to watch out for all this cabling. And we should be good. So I'm going to be talking to you, and we'll get it going. All right, do we kill anything or anyone in here? Okay. All right, can you hear me? And what did you say? Or you didn't say what your name was. I didn't ask. What is your name?
My name is Andre.
Andre. All right, Andre, can you just flip that switch for me a little bit? Excellent. So good. Okay. So eyes on the... see, this is when it would be great if I had markers. Right? I was dropping those markers, but I didn't get to the switch. So what I'm going to do is just kind of drag the mouse and get to the point. Say it again.
Are you dropping the markers first?
No, I'm just getting there. I don't have markers, so they would have pointed me right to the direction, but I had to just go find it. So I'm here it is, and again, it's just going to be, I'm going to roll it, and you just, I think I need to come back just a hair more. Just watch and play along, sing along with the light switch, and we'll just do a few takes. You know, if you don't get it right the first time, we'll do a couple more takes. So here it comes. Oh, and yeah, okay, cool. Here it comes.
Oh.
That's okay. And then, yep. So let's try another one. And then, yeah, the other thing is the behind the door one, which go ahead and do those. And we're just going to turn ours down for that. I would maybe do something different, put something in front of the mic, something blocking it or something like that to maybe get more of an authentic sound. But we'll just do all regular light switches. So here it comes. It's going to be, this is, get it as close as possible. This is clearly something that's like hard to perform that we will easily just slide it and line it up. But let's get it as close as we can. So you ready for another? Yeah. All right, here we go. What? Yeah, there's a light in the other room.
Oh, I forgot, my bad.
No worries. Yeah, no, it's really good. So let's get one more and get the light in the other room. Just kind of watch the light underneath the door. And then, yeah, I was even spacing out and thinking about the next thing. So here it comes one more time. I'm going to just go ahead and have you just open, we'll close the door. So give me 1 second. I'm going to put you on a different track. Okay, and then so go ahead and open up the door in there. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to, before we do that, I'm going to put a high pass filter on this mic, so give me a second. So putting in a high pass. Just because of that sound we heard of that, we're going to cut out that low end. Okay, so I'm just going to, and I'm going to name this too real quick. All right, Andre, so I'm going to go ahead, let's see, where is it? So I'm going to start you right here, and I'm just going to have you go and close the door with him. It would be nice if we had a little door squeak, but I don't think that we're going to get that. All right, so what's that?
It's a little door squeak.
Does it have a squeak? Okay, cool. All right, here it comes. Just give it a shot. Awesome. That's great. I think we're good. Come on in, because we got to be moving quickly. All right, so I'm going to just do a quick. All right, everyone give it up for Andre. All right, so next, we're getting short on time. And There's a lot to do. What I would like to do is him rubbing the glass, because I think we can do that pretty quickly. So the best, like the way that people usually get this glass squeak sound is like spit on the glass and rub on it. Probably not the most hygienic thing that we need to be doing in here. But what we'll do is we'll rub on that glass and have someone just go to the water fountain out there and get a little water on their fingers and so who wants to be our glass DJ? All right. On the ones and twos over here. So first we'll just get this mic set up in here. And then we'll have you go and moisten your hands. Oh, I don't know if they'll be able to hear me, but that's okay, because. And so just do it right in front of the mic. Just something like that. So, and then here's headphones for you. You can pop those on, but go ahead and get your hand wet, and then come in and make sure you close that door behind you.
Will do.
All right. And I'm going to leave that high pass filter in because we don't need any low frequency on this one anyways. I usually just keep, I put a high pass filter on just every single thing I record, even a kick drum or a bass. All right, yeah, so go ahead and just, let's hear your squeak. So you got to push harder. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, now hold on, don't waste the squeak. Here it comes, I'm gonna roll it. Go ahead. Push harder. We're just moving close enough. It'll do the trick. Close enough for jazz. Okay, so we're running. Oh, sorry. Yeah, solo safe it. All right, I've solo safed it. Okay, so so the next thing I would like is, I think that what it would be cool to do is on his, he puts these on, and then I think I want it to have a little click when he's moving that thing. And I found this piece of gear that has a detented potentiometer. So the potentiometer is like the knob is what goes on top of the potentiometer. The potentiometer is like the piece of hardware inside there. And if you listen, can you guys hear that? So that's going to be just as he's focusing that. So who wants to be our person for that? I know you raised your hand on the last one, so I'll let you take that in there and just go, or actually I'm going to come in with you and move the mic a little bit. And for this one, we do want to be close and up, just pretty much on the mic. You can put your headphones on, and I'll be talking to you. All right, so whoop, my mouse lost it. There we go. Okay, create some more tracks, and these are all A2, and then, all right, was it Chris?
Yeah.
Chris, all right, go ahead and start giving me that sound. Oh, it's good. All right, hold on one second, let me find our spot. Okay, so you know, you'll just line up the best you can. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to actually, I'm going to gain it down a little bit. It just has so much air conditioner hum in there. And what is this? We're going to call it clicks. And I did not spell that correctly at all, but it's all right. So let me hear it again. Okay, get like on the mic. Yeah, okay, I do need to turn it up just one more. Okay, let's hear it. Perfect, okay. Actually, you know, I'm gonna do more high pass and crank this up more. So I'm cutting out the low frequency of the hum. All right, let me hear it again. There we go, that's the sound. Okay, cool, I'm gonna roll it, and you can just go ahead and, it should be like, well, we'll watch him, and yeah, go ahead and watch the screen and just try to, you know, you're acting here, so emulate him. I'm going to roll this back just a little bit, and here we go. Yeah, actually, I think you got it in one of those there. So come on in, because we're just going to kind of keep moving along. So again, I'm going to get zoomed in. I'm going to put my edit right to where that click is, and find where he's moving. Okay. Okay. So just few little clicks there. Okay. Now I brought some tools that are, I think that one's not going to make the right sound. This was another thing I had, but that's too big of a click, right? So now I have these. These are all for working on electronics. These are strippers. You guys familiar with strippers? Okay, not those kind of strippers. So lots of good mechanical sounds. You want to, you were volunteering, right? Bring both of these in, and just go in and you're going to make his metal headset sound. So you can go ahead and head in there. Just find. All right, and you'll need headphones on. All right, what's your name?
Drew.
Drew. All right, so Drew, we're just going to test this out. I'm not even sure exactly what we need to do. So just start with the ones with the blue handles. And, you know, just kind of like, it's going to be slow movement on them. And just see what happens, all right? Here it comes. Honestly, there was some really good stuff there. And actually what I'm going to do is, I think it was here. Let me just listen. Okay, so that, oops, sorry, forgetting which buttons I'm pushing. I'm going to just, instead of playlisting these, I'm going to just put these on some new tracks, and we're going to layer up some of this stuff. And normally I would name this track, but I'm trying to hurry. So now what we're going to do is, so normally with Foley they have what's called a streamer, like a white line that goes across the screen that kind of shows you where to go. But I'm going to just drop a marker. So right there. And I'm going to delete this other marker so it's clear. And so Drew, you can see that marker where it is, right? That red line. So you're going to have both the video and that timeline that's going to be showing you where to go. So I'm going to roll it and just, again, improvise. All right, here we go. Really good. I mean, honestly, I feel like we have it. Why don't you come in? All right, so we've come to the end. So let's just see where we are. I'm going to play it back. I'm going to throw a limiter on here too, so we can just hear things a little bit better. Oh, these scroll buttons. Why is it not working? Good Lord! Come on. I cannot scroll. There it goes. All right. Just put the Pro Tools limiter on here, just because some of these other ones I think are not working all the time. They're not authenticated or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to hit play from the beginning. We'll see how it turned out. Oh. Get out of here, limiter. All right. No. It loses. It thinks I'm not. I think I'm in a different application sometimes when I'm touching the video. So there's some editing to do, you know, with all that stuff, and that door especially is. But you kind of get the picture, and obviously we're in a rush here trying to do all of this in an hour. But you know, if you really spend some time with it, you can get it. You know, it really starts to come to life. And let me just quickly line this up. Oh, what am I doing? All right, so let's go a little bit more back, but close enough. Yeah. Anyway, doors are weird. It seems like they'd be so easy, but sometimes it's hard to get them right. So, how did you guys feel? Did it? Watching it that at the end there versus watching it at the beginning, did it feel like? And I'll take those strippers back. Thanks for the strippers. We didn't get to the glass, or I guess we did get to some kind of glass. But one thing I was thinking is, another thing we do is. He's wearing that eyepiece and it has glass on it, and you almost want to have like a little glass sound. Like I was thinking about, something like there's just all these little sounds that glass makes. You know what I mean? And it's, even though it probably wouldn't really make a glass sound, the glass is such a part of that kind of what we're looking at that we kind of want to emphasize it. It's like when someone just pulls out a sword, like even if it's not even pulling out of a sheath, like just holding a knife, and you hear this high pitched kind of high frequency sound. That's just the sound of the knife. That's just, it sounds dangerous. That's what we're looking for. But yeah, the goal here is to kind of develop this character, right? So it gives this character a whole new personality, and we didn't get to the clothing sounds, but I think that might have been kind of like a defining thing. I actually forgot about it in the end. I was like, oh, we never did clothing. I think a part of how he moves, it'd be those footsteps, which we could have done high-pitched, like squeaky SpongeBob sounding footsteps. We could have done like, maybe more thuddy. Like those footsteps are kind of normal sounding, right? No offense. You just got some basic footsteps. No, I'm kidding. There's so many different ways you can go, and it defines that character, and so like doing some funny clothing sounds, and then putting like that headpiece on, those sounds actually worked really well for it, right? And it just all of a sudden kind of made it come to life. And it's where the storytelling is happening visually, but sound is kind of like drawing your attention to these things. And these are all like more obvious and in your face stuff. Where it really becomes powerful is if you have a scene with a ton of stuff going on. There's people running around in the back, and there's cars driving by, and animals running around. And we might have all of that, we call that ambience kind of background sound, but we're going to use Foley sounds or just, different little sound effects to point to what it is that you want to be focused on. And when you're watching a film, you don't necessarily say like, oh, the sound is telling me to watch these things, but you are watching these things, right? It's subliminal. And that's the power of sound, is that it just really is this kind of like subliminal backdoor way into the human mind. And it also, because it's processed in the same place where we process emotions, it's actually extremely powerful when we talk about like with music and stuff. You start playing some sad chords in a, or even not even just sad chords, that's easy, right? But you start doing something that's a little bit like ominous or something like that, right? All of a sudden you're like, I'm getting a weird feeling about this character. You don't usually think, oh, the music is making me have a weird feeling. You kind of think you came up with it on your own. That's that powerful subliminal kind of nature of sound. Like if you guys have heard of Pavlov, the guy who was a psychotherapist or whatever he was, and he would feed his dogs and ring a bell. And so they began to associate that sound with a bell, or that food with a bell. And it got to the point where he would just ring the bell and their mouths would salivate. They didn't say, oh, now I will salivate. It was just a physical, subconscious reaction that they had to that sound. And that is what we have with sound, because we have all kinds of associations with sound. Like in a film, if a scene is in a city and you want to just inject a little feeling of unease, ambulance in the background or police siren, right? It's not out of place in a city. We hear sirens all the time. But if you put it right at the right time, right when like someone makes eye contact with someone, you have this little faint ambulance in the background, we subconsciously have a negative response to that. Especially me, someone who's had a lot of trouble with the law in my past. You guys, I feel like you guys believed me too much. I have had trouble with the law, but I'm on mic right here, so I can't get into the details. So anyway, it's really, really powerful and subliminal and powerful storytelling device. And I teach the post-production class. When you guys get into that, Roberto here just finished it. The main thing I focus on is storytelling. And storytelling is the most powerful skill that anyone can have. If you are trying to be a janitor or if you want to be a CEO, storytelling is the number one skill that you can have. If you're trying to just get a job somewhere, you need to be able to tell a compelling story about yourself in that interview, right? You need to describe to them how your life story has set you up to be the perfect candidate for this. And maybe you have experiences that aren't directly related to this job, but you can frame them through a lens, like through the lens of your own life, that will kind of convince them that you're the perfect candidate for this job. If you're a CEO and you're making some kind of crazy out there pivot in the company, you need to be able to convince your board, maybe even the public, why you're making this decision. And you do that through storytelling. And everywhere from entry-level positions all the way through to CEO or president or, governor, whatever it is, like storytelling is what gets you there. If you are a convincing storyteller, you're going to be so much more successful in your life. And there's just so many ways in which this can be done. This is just how we do it with sound in film and sound for just in general. I think it's really powerful for storytelling. So, any questions, thoughts, concerns? Anybody want to lend me $20? That's a good trade. All right, well, thank you guys. You guys have fun? Was that okay?
Yeah.
My first time doing it, so. Cool. Good. I'm glad you guys liked it. So why don't we get some volunteers to help? I'm going to kill phantom power on the microphone. And let's get microphone put away, cables wrapped up. I don't know if I need to do anything on this.